Hello, this is Video11. Welcome to Video11. This is a series. If you haven't watched the beginning and some of the other videos, it's best to just not watch this. Go watch those first so that you won't be lost. But this video, we've covered quite a lot of stuff already, and this will be about pretty much the here and now. We've covered the history pretty much, and now we need to cover the here and now, and then the future of what is planned, supposedly. So, at that, anybody who's awakened to all of this madness, sees that there's things happening. I mean, when I was young, I never thought that. I never heard the word chemtrails. I mean, and forget about lots of other stuff. And when 9/11 happened, I thought, oh, well, gee, that's really bad. We need to go get those terrorists. I never dreamed the truth that's hiding behind the scenes. And if you have heard a lot about what I said with the origins of how we got to this place, the leaders of the world down here are basically psychopaths that are inbred, that have a religion that is reinforcing beliefs that they can just take advantage of us. They want to take advantage of us. They want, and not in every single case, but as a general rule, they want to manipulate and extort. They want to, they basically think of, many think of us as just useless wastes of space. And it's their divine right to take advantage and be the leaders and put us through whatever they want. I mean, you can go through and see lots of the reasoning. I'm not going to get into it. It's stuff that makes sense to them. But long term, no, you don't have to go and make everyone's life a living hell and as a part of the plan down here. You're not sent here to make others suffer. That's not the point. And the stuff that they do, there's no way you'd believe, even with all the truthers that are out there and all the research that's been done. I mean, it's still worse than what you can imagine. I mean, yes, there's cannibalism. Yes, there's kids that are raped and tortured and killed. There's devil worshipping sacrifices. Yes, there's organ harvesting. I mean, yes, there's people poisoning the air, people poisoning our food intentionally, people poisoning the medicines, people using medicine as just a cash cow to hurt the poor for the gain of the rich. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And the deceptions are crazy. And the deceptions are for a couple of reasons. It's looked at as an umbrella, basically. And the view of the wise elders of the Eternal Society is that the umbrella is there to shield and protect those below it so they can have a decent life and have a really meaningful and wonderful existence while they're shielded from the most hideous parts of this earth that really couldn't have been fixed. And the view from those down here that are taking advantage of others is that basically they're keeping them in a fog intentionally so that they can rape and massacre and steal anytime they want. And then the big group of lemmings is none the wiser. And it's something that they make fun of. I mean, they make fun of how stupid we are. And that's just the general discussion. Now, you get added to this mix the UFO stuff. The aliens, as you know, have been helping us out for a long time. It's been pointed out over and over again how many references to that there are in art, in writing, in all of these, in different references from a very long time ago. It's pretty clear that they've been here. Now, you remember what I said about the religion and the aliens are both there's a bunch of different doctrines in the religion, there's a bunch of different races in the aliens, because the more you're working for the bad, the more there needs to be to keep your mind occupied. I mean, there are people who have nothing but money and time and the willingness and the intent to go and do everything they can to keep damaging others. And having these really good, these really intricate doctrines that they have to learn, and these procedures and whatnot to make their spells work and make their rituals work. I mean, these precise things that help slow them down. But like I said before, the number of different alien species helps to intimidate, as well as helps, they have to figure it out. It's like a puzzle. You have to figure it out. And so it's just basically a big chess game. It's a big theater and a chess game. It's like, how many times have they almost nuked us all? And how many times have they been stopped? And this keeps going on and on. And then there was 9/11. They weren't obviously stopped from doing 9/11, but after it was taken care of, after 9/11, what happened, they were yelled at. And essentially, they were firmly talked to, saying that this was not going to happen again. And this is another reason for the false flags. If you see all these false flags, well, why wouldn't these people just kill all the people? I mean, why would they bother faking it when they obviously don't care? Well, I mean, one, because they're forced to by, the aliens or whoever it is that's talking to them. I mean, we on our end, on our side, appear as angels. We appear as, aliens. We appear as anything you need. And honestly, we have artificial intelligence creations that'll appear as demons or bad aliens or anything you want. It's all in a game of trying to use whatever means necessary to make this as gentle of an experience as possible and to prevent the really bad people from doing really bad things. Well, as much as possible. They still do them. And, I mean, that's one of the reasons why there's false flags and that there's fake deaths. But other reasons is because if you kill too many people, who's going to want to take part in your false flag? If you say, oh, well, I'm going to step up just so I can be massacred. No, of course you're not. I mean, you get more actors and you get more crisis specialists that will go into one and go into another and go into another because they know they'll get out of it, and so that's another reason that not all the time that people die in those. However, as you can see, sometimes the person that thinks that they're just going to go in and go out and have a good time and escape afterwards gets intentionally get whacked anyway, and so it's certainly not always a safe job to have. But that's that. I'm not going to go too much over all of the crazy bad stuff because you can see that everywhere else. Yeah, they don't have all of the reasoning behind the history of why it's gone on, but you get the idea. There's a lot of people that will go through whatever you need. On YouTube there's more disinformation than there is true stuff, but if you can use some of the stuff you can hopefully learn from these videos, that'll hopefully give you some enough balance to determine a little bit of what's right, what's wrong, what's disinformation, and hopefully give you some way to go forward on that. But okay, there's just a couple other things we need to cover before we get to the future stuff. Okay, Black Ops programs. There are, of course, as you know, Black Ops programs. And I don't know anybody in the Black Ops programs. That's not how I get my information. I get my information from, of course, the other side. And so, yeah, of course, they feed the technology to the Earth. And so if you look at Roswell, do you think for even 1 second that our side could just be shot down by some whatever energy weapon it is? There is some whatever stupid little weapon that was. No. We don't even need to fly the UFOs. UFOs are the aircraft. They're just things that we make because we need to dumb it down. You don't even need to fly the UFOs. Of course we don't need to crash them. And all these aliens, they're built for show. We give a lot of vulnerability and innocence in some of the alien species because, I mean, you look at the Avengers movies and look at Black Widow. Look at how she always often plays someone that the bad guy's just about ready to stomp and just about ready to just completely crush. And then you see it was just an act, and then she was in their control the whole time and just, lays out any of the bad guy and just she completely takes control of the situation. Well, vulnerability gets people to act in ways in which they wouldn't if they were defensive. If they think that they're winning, they're going to do more stuff and let their guard down than if they think they're losing. And when it comes down to it, our military is so woefully and hopefully outmatched. Because you take things like Roswell, that was intentional. That was 100% intentional. We don't ever crash UFOs by accident, no matter what they're shot with. It is a game, and it is a theater, like I said. And the technology that was given to the Black Ops programs was given intentionally so that it can eventually bring, certain technologies can float their way down to the populace, but also just for other reasons. They want to assess with data what genome will do with certain technologies and what it won't. I mean, I think that's stupid. I mean, like, take, for example, the cloning technology. There's a lot more advanced cloning technology than they let on down here. Why in the world did they let that out? I don't know, but they have their own plans of observation and data gathering on that one. But, it's filled with holes intentionally, and they patch those holes. One of the things that we as a scientific community can't be sure of is basically anything after Einstein, or including and after Einstein, because the darker of the black ops you get, the more and more holes are in it. With as confusing as things are, with once you get to the theoretical that far back, I mean, you can feel that you deeply understand something and that you've gone over it. And of course, yeah, I don't have 5 doctorates and I'm not like this super science whiz. I know a decent amount of science, but you know, I get the information from the source, and this is just what it says. It's there are holes in the technology that is given in specific places that will render it useless if they try to use it for real. If if our black ops program tries to really honestly go against us, they'll find their stuff dead in the water. Now, and you could see this is done like by putting things like Roswell in there intentionally to give them a false sense of security to catch so that they feel that they know what they're doing. They get running with it. They can get manipulated a little bit easier that way, and they can run with technologies. And say, for example, internet. Our people had them drooling about how wonderful it would be to get internet across the world. Drooling. I mean, just like sitting there, just like mouths open, saying, wow. Because you say, look at all of the things you can do to the populace. You can see exactly what they're doing anytime, day or night. You can spy on them. You can know exactly who your enemies are. The type of intelligence is things you would never, ever have without that. You can have microphones and video in every single house in the world that has that stuff. And you can have massive data gathering centers that will gather data like crazy. And of course, if you're on the other side of it, you say, well, why in the world are they saying things like that? Well, how do you think that they're going to spend that much money to get the internet in everybody's hands? How do you think they're going to spend this much money and resources to get tablets in everybody's hand? It's not just because they want to sell things. They put even more work into it, a lot more work into it, and let these technologies go so that they can spy on you. That's an important part of it. And these technologies were fed to the Black Ops programs, and the Black Ops programs then trickle it down. And not every single one is, but there's certain specific technologies like the internet and like tablets and smartphones that get it in everybody's hand to spy on them and to collect data. And that's a very, very important thing in terms of military. That's true. That does put us, as truthers at a disadvantage because of the types of data gathering that the Black Ops programs have. But on the other hand, you look at the plus side for us. Maybe they're monitoring us, and maybe they're very powerful now, more powerful than they would be for data gathering. But if it weren't for this, we wouldn't have the ability to spread truths and to analyze things and get things out there. The white hats in the government wouldn't be able to use them when they need to for good purposes. That's not only bad things. There's really key important points. And not to mention having the infrastructure there is going to be very, very handy when it comes time for those the worst of the worst, to just get out of here. So, I mean, you look at all in all, pluses and minuses, internet, telephones, TV, tablets, smartphones. They're things that, essentially you can't do without in the modern world. They needed to come to pass. And, of course, some of the ways in which they came to pass was making people a little bit drooling about the possibilities of all the stuff that it could do for the bad. And that's not unusual to be done. I mean, there's many other technologies that was done with too. Now, the Black Ops programs themselves are, from what I'm told, are roughly divided into 3 areas. Well, our group likes to divide things in threes. Who knows why? And I don't know if this is the actual specific areas that the Black Ops programs themselves divide them into. I don't know. It's just our group likes to put things in threes sometimes to make it easier to understand. And so the way it's explained to me is there's the Black Ops programs that are at least a little closer to coming out in public. Maybe not that are ever going to, but at least they could. Things like that triangle ship that everybody seems to know about and see all the time. Basically, the near Earth stuff. Then there's stuff more distant out in the in our solar system, and then there's the far Earth stuff. The further you get, generally, is the darker. There's some Black Ops programs that flat out are never going to see the light of day, not even close. I mean, they probably won't even make it to the internet because they are extremely secretive. Now, the thing is, that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because the darker you go into the Black Ops programs, the more holes the technology has. The holes were put there intentionally, like I keep saying. On the other side of the situation, you have our side, which is feeding them the information from the get-go. They get them, like, originally, the crashed ships and other things that they can study, and in some cases just hand them technology. Other cases, they influence the mind to, just help guide thoughts. And of course, other cases, it's 100% the scientists that do that. The scientists that are in the Black Ops programs do work really hard. But there still are ways of manipulating things from a distance. You can manipulate their test results. And that is often done. I mean, the thing is, they can manipulate. They're so diligent, and they're so... I mean, our side on this end is... They're the type that are so diligent that every single time that any scientist anywhere in the world runs a specific type of test, they can and will be there to make sure it comes up with the exact same consistent results. I mean, they are that good at attention to detail. I mean, they have, like, you remember how I said when you come down to the Earth, well, it's not really coming down. You're just parallel, basically different frequency. But yeah, when you come down to the Earth, there's an electronic overlay that connects the human body to the one that you left. And this electronic overlay is very, very important. It really helps carry your consciousness of who you are. But it also helps to tie in them to anybody that they need to monitor. If you remember what happened with the escapees didn't have or intentionally disabled their tracking, and they just ran off intentionally to be lost. They didn't want to be found. Most of them were anyway, but the point is now everybody is tracked. Everybody has a 24/7 always on connection that can be tapped anytime they want. There are huge privacy laws, of course. It's not just this big watching party. You're not going to have everybody and their dog up there just tuning in to the Jill channel or to the Bill or to the Fred or to whoever you are. They're not just going to come tune in on your life. There's privacy laws, extensive and very important privacy laws. However, there are always people in authority and in positions to monitor and keep the game going in the right ways, so that as scientists and government people are working on these projects, test results are always going to come out as they need to. If they come up with this weapon's always going to do what it needs to do, whether or not it really normally would function that way without subtle tweaks. I mean, obviously things like guns and bullets, things that we don't need to fool anybody with. I mean, it's not things that we really are into, just fooling people about, because it's so simple. You put gunpowder in it and boom, there you go. It's a shot. I mean, there's not really much to fiddle with. But I'm talking about the advanced Black Ops stuff. And yeah, if you extrapolate, that does take a lot of diligence and a lot of sacrifice and doing things that frankly would be unpalatable if it were not for the fact that you need to keep these people busy or they'll do even worse. Yeah, so some people do die um, in with these black ops programs with things that we have to help at least fill in the gaps to make it look like they're working stuff, because this is a military operation as well. I mean, we need to make sure that they stay within certain boundaries, period. One or two deaths is, I mean, not something we like, but it's something that ultimately is okay, because as soon as people are dead, they just go to the other side and they're happy and in a much better situation anyway. I mean, maybe down here you don't see that, and if somebody down here kills somebody, that's a really cruel thing, because they don't have that judgment. They don't have the ability to really know for sure what's going to happen, or they don't have the ability to really see long term after this life what's going to happen, or long term in this life how is it going to affect others. They just don't. Killing people down here is not good, but for them on the other side, they have more resources to really gauge what all the things are going to happen, and in some cases, especially with the black ops stuff, there are some that have to to die, but you keep it to a minimum. Um, but like I said, everything's filled with holes intentionally, so that the darker you go, the worse it is. So that if we pulled out, their stuff just wouldn't work. So the near Earth stuff and the far Earth stuff, there are, what I'm told, corporations. I don't know if places like Lockheed Martin or Boeing or some of the ones that have traditionally worked. I don't know if they're involved or not, but there are businesses who are making ships to go long distances. Like, you've heard the quotes that's in some of these videos saying, if ET was here and was stranded, we could take him home. I mean, you've heard that quote, or paraphrase, or I'm not sure I'm getting it exactly right, but the thing is, they do have ships that can go that far. They really do. The problem is, anything beyond the moon, for the most part, is just pure fantasy. And so, all these expensive things they think they're building, if it's going past the moon, yeah, it might be really going there, and it might not. But the further past there, the more likely it is that you're not going there. And flat out, nobody in any Black Ops program has ever left this solar system. Period. There's not any question about it. It didn't ever happen. Not to say that there might not be people who think that they would have, but no, nobody has. We don't allow it. It's too big of a risk for everybody. We wouldn't want anyone to accidentally alert anyone else of our presence. Our society above all likes to keep a low profile. And what's more, trips past the moon are mostly fiction. Now, yeah, we'll let some small probes through, and we'll let some small things this or that, but in general, if you think you're going to go and have fun in one of these Black Ops programs to Mars or to places further, no, you're not having any fun on Mars. You're having fun in a simulation. There's ways of blending reality with simulation that are mind-numbingly good. There's one thing that our side has. It is extremely, extremely realistic and smooth transitions between reality and fantasy. And this is one of the reasons why our government Black Ops doesn't even have a chance. They could have our side could have their scientists literally drooling on the floor and sucking their thumbs in the corner. I mean, they could play with reality in a way that nobody down here can. I mean, if they really wanted to, they would pull out all of the holes that they're continually patching right now. They would mess with test results even worse than they already do. They would. uh, They could seriously. I mean, you think LSD's a trip? You ain't seen nothing until you've seen some of the stuff that they're capable of if they really got angry or concerned. So, I mean, as much as they're constantly spinning, and it's a huge thing. They're not just spinning wheels. There's program after program after program after service project. The massive scale of this project is ginormous. I mean, you get considering the fact of how lazy our society, it's not lazy exactly, it's just efficient. Why do work in this if you don't have to? I mean, the day-to-day running of the parents is mainly just spent with the kids, and the service projects are like a small here and there. You do it sometimes. The people in level 2 and some level 1, but mainly level 2 and like beginnings level 3, the ones that aren't married yet, or the ones that are just married a little bit and not don't really have kids yet, they'll do a lot of the work in filling these time intensive roles. They really There's a lot of people over there that are well trained enough to do that. But yeah, and essentially going back to this, yeah, we do quite a lot of stuff in terms of these service projects and this program and that program, and it's like we're spinning plates. Like you see some of these old movies of the variety shows where the guy spins plates on a pole, just keep going around and around and around. It's sort of like what we're doing. We're not doing things efficiently. We're not doing things to because we're not threatened. Our society is not threatened by the technology that we've been given out because we gave it out. We are the ones that gave it to you all. The Black Ops programs got it from somewhere. They got it from our side. They got it from the parents, basically. They're the parents. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. Well, I have my disagreements with them, and I'm going to get into that. But they're not so stupid as to give stuff that could blow themselves up. They know what they're doing, and they've seen society after society fail, and they're not going about to hand the keys over to, well, hey, just wipe us out now, please. They have very, very long lives. They have intensely good strategic planning, and it's not. And yeah, they got that part under control. There's a lot of things that I don't think they do have under control, but they got that under control. The Black Ops programs are non-issue. And I know that it might be nice to drool over what some of those Black Ops people know, but you have to remember, knowledge is given for a reason. Good knowledge is given because you want the knowledge, because you need the knowledge, and because you live worthy to that knowledge. Period. There's no way around it. Any good, decent knowledge that's going to uplift you and make it better in your life is given because you want to have the knowledge, because you need it for your personal progress or whatever it is you and your not earthly parents but your spiritual parents feel is appropriate for you. And then because you live worthy to that knowledge, and you take the knowledge, you take what is taught you, and you run with it, and you become a better person from it. That is how you get knowledge. And so you can want it, and you can work towards it all you want. But if it's not determined that you need it, you're not going to get it. And by the way, there's a lot of knowledge that's determined that you don't need it. But, there's a lot of stuff that you will need and that you will get. So the Black Ops programs are a non-issue. They're just a complete non-issue because, yeah, people like Dr. Greer are going to have to work with people to try to go against those and to keep the government honest. But in terms of the long term, you don't really have to worry about too much about them because they will have their day when they're swept out of position and they won't be a problem anymore. And the people in Black Ops programs already have enough holes in the technology, like I said, where they're not going to be able to fight back. But our side is nothing but fair, and they'll be fair to the Black Ops people too, and give them their own place to run around and cause mayhem in that won't hurt anybody else. So, what about the future? The future is plans, obviously. There's some things that I will believe 100%, other ones that I'll be like, well, I'd like to see that. One of the ones I believe 100%, I believe 1,000%, is they said that there's going to be a moratorium on traveling outside of the solar system. They said for at least the next 1,000 years. It doesn't matter our technical abilities. The real, honest, 100% things that we actually are doing, not like the fantasy Black Ops trips, the the darkest of the dark Black Ops ones are taking. Yeah, unlike those, the real trips outside of the solar system are not going to happen for the next 1,000 years. It's a moratorium on it because we just, over on our side, the Eternal Society, just don't feel that the risks are worth it right now. We don't need a bunch of loosely trained, in kids going out and doing stuff that even the parents don't really want to go explore yet. We're a species that likes staying close. And we have technologies in place from a distance that will shield our Earth and the surroundings from curious people that could be out there. And you know what? We haven't really run into any that would be a threat, but we're not taking precautions. Or we are taking precautions. We're not taking risks. Okay, so that's that. No, it's a moratorium on trips outside, the real trips, not fake trips. You can take as many fake trips there in the PSYOPs department as you want, but no trips outside the solar system in the coming millennium. Next, what about the millennium? What about the time of peace? What about how it's coming along? Well, what I do know is it is a work in progress. They use extensively a lot of very, very advanced computer modeling and data analysis. While they have plans, these plans frequently get adjusted based upon the latest computer data and the latest projections to see what would be the best route to take. They have extensive data and modeling in computer like you wouldn't believe. And so this is one of the ways that they can stay ahead of everybody, is that the computer programs we have, they mess with. They really do. I mean, you think that there's the quantum computers that seem to be just communicating with who knows who. Well, it's not who knows who. It's us. We're communicating with us. And then just any simulations, anything electronic we play with, just like that. I mean, it's so easy. But up there, no one's playing with their computer simulations. They are very accurate and predict a lot of stuff. And so plans change. But in general, what is scheduled to happen is a separation. The black ops and the black hats and the really evil in the society want to kill us, basically. Not everyone. Some want to just keep us as slaves and slowly change our genetics to that, to where we're just basically just mindless robots that they can take advantage of. But I mean, you've heard a lot of them want to pare down the population like crazy, and so the simple plan of the matter is give everybody what they want. From the point of view of the black ops and from the point of view of the really bad, evil people in the world, there will come a time that the main part of the society just gets wiped out. And so they'll live on and have free reign to do what they need to do. And we will just be gone. From their point of view. From our point of view, they will just be gone, and we will usher in a reign of peace. Not like completely 100% like everybody skipping and jumping and holding hands together all the time, but something more realistic. The psychopathic tendencies are going to get wiped out. The sociopathic tendencies, those genetics are going to get changed. People that have them will get healed and get some genetic updates to where it will make them easier to feel and empathize with others. And the work that was done to get the middle class and the education is going to be really instrumental in helping out what's going for the future. Now, I mean, I have to backtrack a little bit so that you understand the plans for the future. You have to understand, again, a little bit about what's already been done. In the educational facilities around the world, the amount of people that have gotten education is really important. Really important also is not just that people have an education, it's that people want an education. People expect that this is not just something that they will tolerate, it's something that they expect and demand. Something that they work like crazy to get, because they understand that in order to really fill their life and fill their role in society, they need to have that. And it makes society better. It makes their life better. It is something that is better. People are better when they are educated. And you know what? It doesn't have to be a bad, unpleasant thing. There's a lot of people that have fun in school, even though that the schools right now are still managed ultimately by people that want to make us lemmings. Their schools are going to be further changed in the time of peace to make them more appropriate, better places of learning to help get us to the next step. That's one of the things. The middle and lower classes, the ones that work. Ideally, what's going to happen is, yeah, you still work, but there's enough time for people to be able to have thought. Of course, there is now for a lot of people, but not everyone. I mean, there's a little bit less pressures and less manipulation, less harassment from... let's face it. These housing bubbles are caused intentionally to get people to get out of their houses because they get kicked out. And then raise the price on this, raise the price on that. It's all about manipulating and controlling, so we have less money, less time, and there's a lot of people that get swept under the rug because then they just go homeless or something and just get lost. Now, those types of things will be done away with. I mean, the evil HOAs that... I don't care if you like HOAs. These flipping HOAs are evil. They intentionally manipulate and control people so that they can get them out of their houses. Not everybody, but there are certain schemes in HOAs that are just plain evil. And yeah, okay, you can certainly have some situations in place in the coming reign of peace that are going to let there be management, so you don't have the cat lady with newspapers up to the roof and like 100 cats. I mean, obviously some things need to happen. There's a balance though, and the balance needs to be a fair one. It's fair for people that are both the person that the community is talking to as well as the community. There needs to be a fair balance. And so the scheming is going to slowly be exposed so that we can work on understanding how to make a fair balance. It's not going to be a perfect world, but it's going to be something that's better. And then what about the money? Well, there still will be money. And believe it or not, Asia is planned as the place that has most of the money right now, from what I've heard. It's going to be a financial powerhouse. However, that doesn't mean that the U.S. is going to be just left in the lurch and just everybody's begging for scraps. No. The U.S. is, and Europe, would be in charge a lot of the moral enlightenment of the world. Christianity is slated to go throughout Asia in the time of peace and be spread there a lot. And if you've listened to all this, you say, well, why Christianity? Because you obviously that's something that was just made up. Well, it's not made up. There was a Christ figure. Granted, it was a role played, but there still was a Christ figure, and there still is a Christ figure. You can go up there right now, and it plays an important political role in our society now. It's a role. It's a political office that's now held, and it's a very important one. So yeah, Christianity is going to be spread throughout Asia. And if you're Asian or if you're not Christian, that's fine, because other ones I don't think are going to get wiped out either. There's going to be choices, but all in all, one of the problems with Asia that has it now is that a long time ago we talked with their leaders. I mean, the elders of our society talked with their leaders, and they said, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that, you're going to treat your people fairly, you're going to disseminate certain things to them, you're going to... And they give a list of some things. And at the highest up, some of the leaders still have what they were told, and they feel honestly that they've been doing a really good job, and they expect to be rewarded because of it. And so the leaders themselves, thinking that they're doing a good job, and yeah, they did in lots of ways follow what they were told, but honestly, in other ways, they just didn't. They didn't give... I mean, they might have tried to comply somewhat with the letter of the law, but they certainly didn't comply with the spirit of it. And there were certainly a lot of things better that could have been done with the populace. So, on one hand, we're not... our society over there is not going to tear those leaders apart, because they at least were trying a lot more than the other ones. But, on the other hand, there are going to be changes that are going to be made, especially to certain religious and moral training. And yeah, there's a lot of good morals in Asia. I'm not saying they're just immoral people. They're not. But there are certain lessons that will align them more closely with the type of society that we have eternally. And it's not saying that the Western world is the absolute ideal picture of moral health. It's not. But there are certain things that Christianity does well. And there's certain things it doesn't do well. It's going to be purified so that you take the Bible, and supposedly a lot of the stuff that was just put there by scheming evil people is going to be revealed, and it's going to be made into a little bit better of a book. Because I know a lot of people, you've grown up with, the Bible is the Word of God, it's the Word of God, it's completely unerring, everything there is just gospel. Flat out, no. This world is too evil for that. Come on, people. The people in charge of this world were too devious for that. They're never going to let something stand like that, even something so holy. Especially when you remember that they were forced into it from the beginning, and had never at any point at that time had any respect for the doctrine. They're just doing it because they were forced to. Since then, a lot of them have become converted and do have a lot of respect for it. But it was messed with, and that messing with is going to get fixed. There's going to be a multitude of religions. Yes, there's going to be LDS. Yes, there's going to be Protestant. Yes, there's going to be, I believe, Catholic, even though Catholic, the Pope was, there's a lot of serious things going on there. Sorry, Catholics, but it's true. I mean, there's going to be a lot of religions. I don't know exactly which ones are going to be cut off and which ones aren't. I know that, like I said, Muslims, they're just going to have to learn that religion's not savable. I mean, we try to honor and respect various different beliefs from all over the place. We really do. That particular one is going to go slowly and as nicely as we can, but it's going to go. And there are other ones that are going to go too, obviously. Okay, so now that I bored some people thoroughly to tears, let me go over to another thing that you need to understand for the future. Do you remember the Mandela effect? You might have seen a lot of videos on it. The Mandela effect, such as like you were certain that it was the lion and the lamb in the Bible. And yet, you can look in even the oldest ones, and it says the wolf and the lamb, or the lamb and the wolf. That type of thing where you thought it certainly would be one thing, but it certainly is another. Are we just going crazy? Are we in a simulation? Or what's the deal with that? Oh, and there's the whole Bernstein versus Berenstain, the E versus the A. It's like, how did you spell the name? You talk to the Berensteins, they say, no, it's always been this way. But so many people, it's like without even thinking, oh, it's this. I remember spelling it that way, with the E, not the A. You know, that's the Mandela effect. Now, what is the truth about the Mandela effect, and why do I bring it up now? Why is it so important? Well, the Mandela effect is mostly fake. But there are some very real things about the Mandela effect. Now, the lion and the lamb, yes, 100%. It used to be the lion and the lamb. 100%. And there's a lot of other Bible changes that were made as well. Now, why were those Bible changes made? I wasn't told specifically. I was told, yeah, they were changed. I wasn't told specifically, but I would bet you money that it has to do with the game they're playing with the elite. I bet there was some sort of thing that they had with the elite, that's the powerful of this world, that they must have done some like spell or something with CERN, and this would be a result of something that was done there, and I don't know what, but I would put money that that's the case, that it has to do with some shenanigans up at that level. But, you know, also the reason for it for us, the ones that I'm told that's good for us, is to help wake people up, to help make people feel a little bit uncomfortable, so that they stop and start to think a little bit and just sort of look around them. And because now is the time to wake up. It's not the time maybe 30 years ago, but it is the time right now. Because 30 years ago, we were supposed to be under the umbrella so that we didn't get hurt too much. But now we're supposed to be waking up so that we can help usher in this time of peace, so that we can help speak out against the evils of our leadership, so that we can demand the rights that we should be given. And having this little things change is a part of that. And the real Mandela effect type stuff, like the ones in the Bible, that is 100% our doing, no matter what the elite think that they are doing. It's not something that CERN did. It's not something that anyone else did. And I know some of you are just dead set already on thinking it is some like demonic stuff. It's not. I mean, the lion and the lamb can lie down together, but isn't it not equally as true that the wolf and the lamb could also? I mean, this is the way it was explained to me. It says, you know, it's equally true that the wolf and the lamb could lie down together. What's the big deal about that? I mean, people get so sensitive about the Bible, but if it is the Word of God, wouldn't God be the one that changes it and that's okay? And you say, well, the Word of God's unchangeable. Well, certainly that hasn't stopped the elites from changing the Bible all get out. The thing is, we're very pragmatic. If it serves an effect, if it serves a purpose, they're going to do it. They're equally as true, so they got changed, and it helps in a number of ways. But going to other things with the Mandela effect and how that affects the coming future? Well, if you remember in some of the Mandela stuff, people feel that the continents themselves, or various parts of the world, or cities, parts of the city, some things are just out of place. Like some feel that Australia is just slightly different than where it used to be, and that like really massive stuff like that, or even on a citywide level, like this thing is just a little out of place from what it used to be, and they just can't. Yeah, it's just different. And you look on every old map, and you look on every thing that you can see, and it generally is just still there. It's there the way that it is now, but yet in our memories, people from all over the place think, hey, it used to be like this, and they agree. Well, it's not your craziness. There were certain things that were changed, even on a massive scale like that. And I don't have a complete list of exactly what's going on with that. But yeah, there were places that were moved a little bit, and this and that. And the reason how it was done, I think, is a bit crazy. I think, why in the world would you go to this much trouble? But basically, you remember how there's different dimensions, natural dimensions. I'm not talking about the artificial ones, but the natural dimensions. One of the things here is there's a military plan on our side, the eternal side, that is meant to fill up all of the natural dimensions. Because if it's filled up with people, then it's a whole lot less of an appealing target than something that's just not inhabited. And if it's a natural realm, if it's a natural frequency, then there's going to be other people from other parts of the galaxy potentially that could come and see that might or might not be able to switch dimensions. Maybe they can't switch dimensions, but they can do space travel, because space travel is, easier than switching dimensions. It really is. So maybe they just can look in their sensors and their telescopes and their X-ray stuff and whatnot, and they could, maybe they just come and visit it and say, hey, this is uninhabited. Let's sort of bunk here. Well, if there's people, it's less of an appealing target, because there's always other systems that are empty, or devoid at least of intelligent life that could fight back if they needed to. So yeah, it's a plan to cover everywhere with people on our planet, not everywhere, anywhere, but on Earth. Every dimension of Earth that is natural is going to get filled intentionally. And there was a split there. And we'll call it the E world and the A world because of the Berenstein and the Berenstain. The E world is where we were for Berenstein, but the A world is where we are now. Now, this world that we are living in right now is a different dimension than the whole history the planet was on. Why in the world would every single person get switched to a different one when there was a perfectly good one there? Who knows? They're a bunch of crazy people sometimes. I don't know. But we were. And with this change, you have to remember atom sharing is really, really, really good. Even though this is a natural dimension that we are on now, atom sharing still can be used to adjust things like where the continents are at, or what is in a book. The book itself can be atom shared, but not perfectly, so that you can change the words on every single book, or every single map can be made slightly different. And so we were moved over here to the A world, where Berenstain is at, and where a lot of these changes are. And yeah, they can make these changes on the fly too. If they want to make another change tomorrow, they can just change it. And it's not changing a simulation. We're not in a simulation. It is atom sharing. They use atom sharing to adjust the atoms themselves to arrange them in different ways. It's really simple for them to do. And so we are here on this one because they needed to fill another natural realm with natural looking. I mean, because the thing is, they're not going to fill the natural realm with themselves because they're not, they want to be hid. They're not going to fill a natural dimension with themselves, period. They're not going to do that. They inhabit the artificial one so that they can hide. It's much harder to catch an artificial one. You have to really know what you're doing, and your tech has to be phenomenal to be able to do it. But the natural ones are easy to get, relatively. And so the natural ones are going to get filled by us, the students, because we're expendable if anybody ever came. No, but yeah, it's a military thing and it helps out for the plan. So we are here. Stuff changed intentionally so that we can wake up. But then what happened to the original E-world that we had been on? Well, it's getting ready for the elites. The powerful, the black ops people. That's who the E-world is going to be reserved for. And so when the time comes for the split, there's going to be some events that happen, and that's not determined yet, so there's no way for me to really tell you. There's some plans out there, yeah, but there's so different ways to do it, and you're so easy to be manipulated. Sorry. All it takes is one thing to create a big enough panic, and it will make it look like we get blown up to the elite. And they will just think, hey, you know, that we, all the main part of the people, they just got wiped out. Sorry, sucks to be them. And that is when they get moved back to the E-world. And as you can tell, they got it seamless. They got it really seamless. And I know this can be hard to imagine that all of us can be shifted into different frequency just without knowing it. But yeah, that's how smooth they are. They are really smooth. They've perfected this for a very long time, and they're very, very good at what they're doing. And this is one of the other reasons I say that our Black Ops are hopelessly outmatched. They have no idea what they're playing with. And so the Black Ops people and the elites and the people that are better than everybody get moved to their own realm, the E-world that we were on, and we all stay on this one. And there we go. Now, this is a very bad punishment for the evil people because they made their bed and they're going to have to lie in it. We don't have to do a darn thing to them. Our side has seen so darn many groups split off and collected the data on it that it's not even a question. All we have to do to wipe out the bad guys in this world is just leave him to himself. We don't even have to do anything. You know, you just split him off. There you go. Have fun. You think that you're all that in a bag of chips, so go ahead and do it. And you know, our plan isn't to wipe them out. We don't need to wipe them out, but they're going to be on their own because that's what they want. They want to be on their own. They want us to be gone pretty much, and they want to have all these plans. Well, have at it. There you go. Have fun. Go, 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 go. I mean, it really, I mean, works. They get what they want. They get a world where they can control and manipulate each other to their heart's content. And they get a world where we're not encumbering them. And what they will find out quickly or slowly, depending on how smart they are, my bet is they're not all that smart, is that they didn't really know what they were doing. They're going to figure out they didn't know what they're doing, or at least their kids will. And eventually it is planned over the long course of things to have their own kids start to realize that they were monsters and have their, you know, eventually their children or their children's children or their children's children's children just basically want to disown them. And hopefully then they can be returned to a decent society. Because, you know, no one wants to send their kids down to just a mess. But that's the basic plan of it. And I think it's a really decent plan because Everybody keeps learning. I mean, yeah, I know it's easy to say, well, shouldn't the bad people just get blown up and get sent to hell? Well, yeah, maybe. But the thing is, how are you going to teach them? They have to get taught somehow, some way. I mean, there were people that were good before they came here, and they're only bad because of the intense pressures that got put on them. I mean, everybody ultimately has a right to become an adult. Maybe it'll take 1,000 years or 10,000 years or who knows how long, but you have the right to become an adult eventually. And we're not going to force you to become one, but we can arrange things so that you'll have the opportunity. And so, what about the people like Hitler? And worse. They are worse than Hitler. Hitler was a stooge, and he was controlled and brainwashed to do what he did too. But he's evil still. What about people like Hitler? Well, there's a means of disassociation. If you remember, the body beforehand, when it comes down, has a different set of genetics. And when it comes down, it's a pretty good experience. I mean, you're controlling the body here, and it's you, but it's a different set of genetics, and it's a different experience. So it's a little complicated, but once you die, after you've processed and paid your dues, there's a way of disassociation from the identity. They can make you believe that instead of, say being Hitler, you were actually one of the victims. And, you essentially wouldn't even know that you were. And the Hitler character would just be dead forever. The person that went into Hitler and then came back out would, after an extensively long period of paying and atoning and figuring things out, would then return to a state without any influence from the person that was Hitler. The genetics and the personality and pretty much everything that made up Hitler would basically be dead forever. Never to return. Never to be saved. It would just be gone. But the being behind that was there is still there, is not going to die, is going to eventually grow up to be a really nice, good, glorious person. And there's a lot of thinking behind it, and there's a lot of, who makes it us? Are we really just a combination of two different individuals? Well, not really, no, but this is the benefit of having two different sets of genetics that make us us. You can sort of take a part of your brain and wipe it out and replace it and be somewhat different and somewhat the same. I mean, it's a complicated thing, and it's going to take a lot of learning to see exactly what happens. But trust me on this. It's something that, in the long run, is fair to everybody. You don't have losses. Everyone gets saved. But on the other hand, the most evil of the evil will be gone. It'll be dealt with. Anyway, so we've done a bunch of talking. That's the plan. Another plan. This one I'm more suspicious of, because I don't trust our group as much as I've mentioned all these really great things about them. I don't trust them completely, and there's certain things I just plain don't trust. This next plan is something that they're saying, oh no, it's gonna happen, it's gonna be there. Absolutely, 100%, we're going to make it happen. Our world is damaged. Have you seen the chemtrails? Have you seen the stuff that goes into our food, the genetic engineering? I mean, we have genetic engineering on the other side too, but it's good genetic engineering. It's not this crap that they do here. There's the medicine, if you can call it that we have here, the vaccines that are filled with all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's tons of stuff that are intentionally made to damage us. And if you're not awake yet, I'm sorry. There's things in vaccines that are intentionally put there to damage you and to make you stupid. I'm sorry. It's true. This has been, this is 100% is what's happening. But there's a lot of damage coming from a lot of different places. Not just that, not just this, and not the other, but tons of stuff. And so one of the things is that we need to be healed from it. The long-term outlook for the species is something that is we are far more damaged than we think. I mean, there's a short term, you can see, oh, well, everything looks normal, everything looks great. Yeah, maybe we cough a bit too much or have too much allergies or too many people are sensitive to wheat or milk or this or that. But the long term, over the course of the next 1,000 years, health of our society, of our species, and of our planet is already far worse than anybody imagines. Any truther that I've heard, it is worse. And with the computer modeling and with the science and with the medicine that we've come to know on the other side, we know for a fact that that's happened already, period. And so there is a need to heal. There is a need to heal. There's a couple ways of healing. You could do it on the sly, sort of behind the scenes, so that no one notices. But what they say they have planned is that UFOs and the aliens will go from just being something that deals with the elites and some of the honest people down here. They'll be, over the next course of 5 to 10 years from now, they will slowly ramp up their activities, and you'll, instead of just seeing them here, you'll start to see them. Hey, look, there's one that's through the window. You can look through the windows. I mean, there's already been a UFO that I've seen on video that you could sort of look through the windows on. And so I've seen that part is happening. But it'll go slowly, more and more and more, until once the time of the separation of the whatever disaster that they let happen, then on our end here, the good side, not the bad side necessarily, but on the good side, if you've been really good, then you can see that the UFOs and the aliens, the good races, will come down and save the day for us. And you can see that they're going to be very nice, and they're going to help out, and they're going to actually be here to heal and to welcome us to the galactic the federation, or whatever it is that they plan on calling it. And as you could tell, this is for a reason. This is because it's another form of intimidation. Intimidation being that if you believe you're part of 1,000 different or 10,000 or 100,000 different species, all connected by certain laws and certain ways of doing things, you're certainly not going to rock the boat as much as if you thought that, hey, I'm alone and there's not really too much people out here. It's a form of intimidation. It's a nice form of intimidation. It's good. It certainly is something that can be uplifting. But it's something that is a lot more secure than just having the one group come down and saying, hey, guys, listen to us. We're nice. You can trust us. No, I mean, if the truth really got out of what I'm saying en masse, people would yell and say, no, we don't trust you. Thank you very much. But the thing is, I'm getting this out because there needs to be some of that. Maybe not tons of it. There needs to be some of that. We need to understand that they do need the type of accountability and the type of people saying, hey, let's yell at you and say, hey, no, you weren't doing right. But, okay, going back to the thing. I don't want to lose you too much, but, yeah, the plan is to have the UFOs come down to save the day and to help heal our bodies over the course of the while, and to sort of, welcome us into the Galactic Federation of Interplanetary Happy People, or whatever it is that they want to call it. And of course, as you know, that's just a bunch of different people that have already died and graduated on to the next phase, pretending to be those aliens. And of course, you meet the people that are in there, and they'll be very happy and proud to show you, look, this is my alien. This is who I get to be. And then they can, parade around and say, look, this is so fun. And of course, it is a fun thing. Of course, I mean, eventually I plan to in time to get one of those alien types of things to where I can pretend to be an alien too. I mean, that'd be funny. But yeah, that's the plan. Now, why do I not think that's going to happen? We'll go over a lot of my concerns with our eternal society as well, but I think that they are a bit too cautious for that, in my personal opinion. They'll disagree with me night and day. 100%. They'll say, no, this is going to happen. We're going to make this one happen. Last time they came down here, they were honest more, and they really said what is what, and there was a big flat out failure. This time they have it designed better. I think that it would be nice. I really would support them coming down as aliens and showing everybody peace and healing people. I think that needs to happen. But I feel that they are too addicted to the game. I don't think that the optimal is what we can ever expect from them. I think that they are going to continue to take their computer simulations and keep us at the very edge of not surviving for long enough until they just don't have any other choice. I don't trust that they're going to come and actually do what they're going to do. So, if you see the good, there are black ops UFOs, and there's bad. If you see a black ops from the government, you better run the other way, because those are not things you want to mess with. But if you see a real alien, like real meaning one of our fake aliens that is actually the real one, as long as you're not near the military, then generally they're good people. I mean, we're not out to just hurt people. They're really nice. So encourage this. Whatever you have to do, encourage this to happen. Think positive thoughts. Pray. Talk to your family on their side. Make an expectation that you expect that this reign of peace, this time of peace needs to come. They will, if you talk to them, they'll tell you day in and day out that, oh yes, it's coming. Absolutely. No question about that. And it's going to be very soon. And I'm going to tell you, it's probably the only voice you're going to hear saying this, that you got to be careful. Because I've seen their political stunts, and I've seen their ability to delay things, and I've seen how much that they like collecting the data and playing games, and having us be the guinea pigs that get they have to pay the price for it. I'm making this video series because I think it's a very real possibility that the time of peace will not come in the time and the way that they say, and it'll be a lot less like a time of peace and more like a continuation of everything that we have right now. That they'll just slowly sweep away the worst of the worst, but pretty much just keep going as it is as much as they can. And you know, we need to change. We need a dramatic change. We need something that is going to be refreshing, and it's going to make sure that we are not treated like we are right now, and we're treated horribly. And one day on the other side, you need to demand to see the types of things that really, really went on here. How many kids were killed? How many of us, how much we were poisoned in our land, in our bodies, in the water, and everything. How much really bad stuff went on? Because no matter what, I could be here until forever, and it's bad what happened, and it needs to stop. And so this is the thing I don't trust. They are supposed to come and help save us. They're supposed to come and split this off to where the bad people have their own level. And it makes sense for them. Like I said, it's a military thing. Even if the bad people have their own thing and they're doing whatever, that fills up a natural dimension. And our goal is to fill up all the natural dimensions with students. Period. That's a good thing. There's not a bad thing about that plan. I like the plan as it's been given. I just don't trust them to implement it. They'll say day in and day out, yes, this is going to happen, and I don't believe them. Flat out, I don't believe them. And that's really bad because they should do it. They've come up with a good plan. They have a good plan. It's amazing. It will work. And we just need to make them carry through on it because they follow through because there's some issues there. And I will go through those issues in another video. So I guess the next video will likely be issues. Got to get a tissue because there are going to be issues coming up. Well, maybe not, but yeah, there are going to be issues coming up. My concerns, my worries about things, and the very real risks to the society, our eternal society that we have. That's going to be some of the more important stuff in this whole. I mean, I would go over all of these 9, 10, 11 videos again as many times as you need to understand this, because the concerns that I have are extremely important. We are at a point in our society where you will need to be enlightened and lend your voice to sanity because it needs that. I will give you more information on that in the next video. Thank you for listening, all one of you or two of you, plus all the many that are on the other side listening as well. We always appreciate that too, and hopefully you can lend your voices already right now to the discussion and bring peace. Talk to you later.